Welcome to my channel. Today we're diving into an incredible story about Robert Downey Jr. that reveals the quiet power of faith in a world that often mocks it. If you've ever felt judged for your beliefs or wondered if silence can be stronger than argument, this video is for you. Before we begin, I'd love to know, where in the world are you watching from? Drop your location in the comments below. On a popular late-night TV show with bright studio lights and an eager audience, the host, known for her sharp sarcasm and provocative interview style, tried to mock Robert Downey Jr. about his faith. The studio buzzed with anticipation as Robert walked onto the stage in simple dark jeans, a black blazer, and a t-shirt. Around his neck hung a small cross necklace, subtle but noticeable. With a smug smile, the host asked if he really believed someone was watching over him, especially after all the personal struggles he had endured throughout his life. The audience laughed loudly, but Robert remained remarkably calm. He simply held the small cross hanging from his neck without arguing back or showing any sign of offense. Robert Downey Jr. isn't just a beloved Hollywood actor. He's someone who has experienced profound struggles in his life, yet continues to stand strong. Not because of his wealth or fame, but because of his quiet faith, which became the unexpected focus of the interview that night. As the conversation began, the host asked standard questions about Robert's career, recent films, and behind-the-scenes stories. He answered thoughtfully in his characteristic, thoughtful manner. But gradually, as was typical for this show, the tone shifted to more personal and provocative territory. The host leaned forward with a sly grin and said, "Robert, you seem like a grounded guy, maybe even spiritual. But tell me something. Do you really believe in miracles after everything Hollywood has shown you? After everything life's thrown at you?" The audience laughed again, but Robert didn't join in. He simply touched his cross necklace lightly, taking a moment before responding. The host continued making jokes about spirituality and religion, calling faith an emotional escape, and mocking the idea of divine intervention. When she directly asked if he thought someone was watching over him, Robert finally spoke, his voice quiet but steady. "If I'm still standing after everything, it wasn't just luck." His words landed with unexpected weight. The room fell completely silent. The camera caught the surprised expressions on audience members' faces as the mood shifted dramatically. Trying to regain control of the show's typical lighthearted tone, the host launched into more jokes about religion, calling it a fairy tale for people who are scared to grow up, and mocking biblical verses with theatrical exaggeration. But Robert didn't get angry or defensive. He didn't roll his eyes or shift uncomfortably in his seat. He just held his cross gently, maintaining his calm presence as the host's jokes seemed to lose their power. What the audience didn't fully understand was the depth of Robert's painful past, his struggles with addiction, his time in prison, his difficult road to recovery, and the many relationships damaged along the way. Through all these challenges, Robert never surrendered to bitterness. Instead, his struggles somehow transformed into grace and compassion for others. Stories about Robert's kindness had circulated for years. A rideshare driver told of receiving a $500 tip from him with the simple explanation, "You were kind. The world needs more of that." A woman recalled seeing him help a stranger with an overheating car at a gas station, staying for an hour to make sure everything was fixed properly. No cameras, no publicity. A fan remembered how he sat with her on a street when she was crying, not asking why, but simply offering his presence and comfort. Though famous, Robert lived his faith not through public declarations, but through countless, quiet acts of kindness. When the host pushed again, asking if he seriously believed someone was looking out for him, Robert looked directly at her and repeated with gentle conviction, "If I'm still here, if I'm still standing after everything, it wasn't just luck." The audience went completely silent. Even the normally quick-witted host seemed momentarily at a loss for words. Then something unexpected happened that changed the entire direction of the show. The host's expression softened, and her tone transformed completely. She began sharing her own story. "When I was little, I used to pray every night. I'd close my eyes tight and ask God to make me normal. I didn't even know what that meant. I just thought maybe if I was normal, I wouldn't be scared all the time. I wouldn't feel wrong." Her voice trembled slightly as she continued, "And I'd pray, 'Please don't let me go to hell. Please just let me be enough the way I am. But nothing happened. I kept waiting for a sign, a voice, anything. She paused, composing herself before admitting that when nothing seemed to change, she started mocking Faith to cover her own disappointment and pain. Robert looked at her with genuine compassion. No judgment, no triumph, just understanding. He leaned forward slightly and responded with quiet assurance. No one who suffers while praying is ever alone. Someone always hears, even if you didn't realize it. A woman in the audience wiped away tears, and others sat in stunned silence as the host whispered, I used to think silence meant no one was listening, but maybe I just didn't know how to listen back. After the show aired, videos of this powerful exchange spread rapidly online. Behind-the-scenes footage was leaked, revealing that producers had specifically instructed the host to target Robert's faith to create controversy and drive up viewership. A former producer confirmed in a social media post that targeting guests with spiritual beliefs was a common practice. It wasn't about curiosity, it was about triggering reactions. But instead of providing the dramatic confrontation they'd hoped for, Robert's quiet dignity and compassion had changed the entire conversation. The hashtag number #RespectFaith began trending, with millions of people sharing the clip. What surprised many commentators was that support came not just from religious communities, but from people of all backgrounds who defended not specific belief systems, but the fundamental right to believe without mockery. The host later tweeted, Some moments on live TV aren't scripted, they're human. Tonight I was human, and I'm still processing what that means. Robert remained characteristically quiet about the viral moment. His only public response was posting a simple image of his cross necklace resting on a closed book without caption. The image was shared millions of times, with people adding their own interpretations in the comments. For the quiet warriors, faith under fire, and the book is closed but the message speaks. When Robert returned for a second interview a week later, anticipation was high. The studio was packed, with people holding signs with messages like, Silence speaks, and faith is not a fault. But during the broadcast, something truly unusual happened. As the interview began, the lights suddenly flickered, and all sound cut out completely. For 10 full seconds, the entire set was plunged into near darkness, with only emergency lights providing a dim glow. When everything returned to normal, the host appeared visibly shaken. I don't know what that was, she said, her voice unsteady. Robert responded softly. It wasn't about winning a debate. It was about touching a soul. This moment, just 10 seconds of silence in the middle of a live broadcast, became the most viewed clip in the show's history. While technicians later attributed it to a system malfunction, many viewers felt it represented something more profound. It wasn't what was said during those seconds of darkness, but what was felt. A moment of collective stillness in a world that rarely pauses. The host later posted her own message on social media, without makeup or special lighting, looking directly into her phone camera. I thought I was in control that night. I thought the goal was to win. But he didn't try to win. He just held space. And maybe, just maybe, God did speak to me that night, and I finally stopped laughing long enough to listen. In the days that followed, a movement started online with the hashtag #, My Faith is Not a Fault. People shared stories of returning to their faith traditions after hiding them from ridicule, while others wrote about developing a new respect for beliefs different from their own. A woman posted, I stopped wearing my necklace after a friend mocked it. I just put it back on today. A teenager commented, I never believed in anything, but maybe I can start believing in peace. Psychologists and spiritual leaders discuss the incident on news programs, with one therapist noting, we're not used to people holding space without fighting back. That moment was a reset emotionally and culturally. It wasn't about agreeing or disagreeing anymore. It was about remembering something we'd all forgotten, that grace, presence, and truth don't require volume to be powerful. The host eventually stepped away from her show, not in scandal but in reflection. Her final post about the incident simply stated, Some conversations are more important than content. Thank you, Robert. Though he never replied publicly, a day later, he shared an image of a lit candle beside a folded note that read, You were heard. Throughout this unexpected cultural moment, Robert never preached or argued. He never raised his voice or tried to defend his beliefs with long explanations. He carried his pain without turning it into a weapon against others. In a world addicted to noise and conflict, he demonstrated that silence can be more powerful than shouting, and that faith isn't weakness. It's often the quiet strength that helps people endure their darkest moments. This story reminds us that sometimes the most powerful response isn't a clever comeback, but quiet dignity and compassion. If this message resonated with you, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss our next video. Also, if you found value in today's story, sharing is caring. Pass this along to someone who might need to hear it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.